What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Putemup podcast, episode number 3. That's right, we're on our third one, if you can believe that or not, ladies and gentlemen.
3.
Ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't do this all by myself, man, and I won't, because I have the man here to my right, ladies and gentlemen, standing at 5'11", weighing in at 230 pounds, Mr. Patrick Regalado.
What's up?
What's going on, big dog?
Hey, Mr. Frank, how are you, man?
Doing good, man.
How was that weekend? How was your Thanksgiving, my friend?
Oh, turkey, man.
Turkey. I'm still full from it.
Oh,
I'm still full from it. Got to get to the gym again tomorrow.
Again, you're gonna do that?
Yeah,
you have like turkey for breakfast and turkey for lunch?
I've had turkey soup, turkey sandwiches, turkey ground.
Yeah, man. It's
and tomorrow I'll have turkey salad.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to just tell everybody what's up for this episode, man. This episode, we're going to talk about 3 things, man. I just want to keep it short. 3 things, man. One is going to be, of course, any updates with the UFC and Bellator and everything that you got, of course.
Absolutely. We got that covered for you.
I know you got that covered. And what I want to talk about is something different, man. Something different that's out there from a business point of view, right? So what I want to do, I was just thinking about, what if we put the big boys versus the big boys and match them up in regards to the health of MMA in the state of Florida. And what do I mean by that? How are the promoters holding up against each other? Let's say we get Titan FC, number 1 dog, against Island Fights, and compare those two and see how they are. How are they from a social media point, from a marketing point, how they're selling tickets. And let's tie that into the Dana White experience and how he started and how he grew the company and everything else. I want to compare the two and see what the comparisons are there. And then of course we can talk about anything else we want going forward.
Absolutely.
Shit,
absolutely.
It's
but I do know that because of the health of MMA topic that you're talking about, I know that there'll be a lot of promoters glued waiting to see what you're going to say based on everything that happened from the other episode and all the phone calls that you got. Yeah. So I know that there'll be some promotion companies out there. And if they're smart, they'll be taking some notes, man.
Yeah, listen, I did get some phone calls from the last event, from the last episode.
Yeah.
But you know what? The conversation was good. It was basically, listen, they can't deny it. They can't put up an argument. They can say, oh, well, give me excuses. But at the end of the day, it's what you project. You can't deny you posting stuff on Facebook the way you're posting. It's there. It's on Facebook. There's no denying that.
Absolutely.
You did that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just you know what I'm also going to do? As a matter of fact, I'm going to give a little tip and little tricks on how to get customers coming to your event by stealing the other customers from other MMA promotions.
What?
Now, here's one. I'm going to show them.
Listen up, guys.
This is good, man.
Listen up, guys.
This is good. As a matter of fact, I'm going to
And this is going to be free, so...
Yeah, free stuff, man. Free advice on how to get... Now, these are people that went to these events and that paid tickets to these events. I'm going to show promoters how they can grab that list of names and add it to their event pages so that they too can now capitalize on those people who went to events and went to shows. At the same time, I'm even going to do this. I'm going to give another free one for you.
Okay.
Just to help out the MMA community, to help out these promoters, because maybe they're not into marketing. They're like, Frank, listen, man, we just promote. We don't give 3 shits about marketing, but let me tell you, if you don't, then you're missing the boat, because that's where you should be at.
I believe that. I believe that.
You should be marketing your events, and you should be the marketer. You should be the promoter. You should be the guy that passes out flyers. This is your baby. This is your production. This is something that you want to see successful, and you wear many hats in order to make that happen. So here's what else I'm gonna do. I'm gonna dissect. You heard me right. I am going to dissect these websites of these MMA promoters. And listen, it's not a bashing. It's more of a educational social media type of thing.
You always got to worry when they say it's not a bashing.
It's a social media. Listen, you cannot deny the facts. If I show you a website and they're not doing what they're supposed to, the promoter could do 2 things. Either they could say, well, maybe his delivery was a little, off because, brother, why don't you just call me and tell me? Well, brother, I'm telling you now, the platform is to not just learn from this one, but maybe everybody else who's listening, everybody else who sees it can learn from this social media topic. You know what I'm saying? And listen, no bashing to any. Without them, I couldn't do what I do.
Disclaimer, guys.
This is a disclaimer. I couldn't do what I do. But But let's do that. Let's talk about the health of MMA by showing other promoters' websites and how they go about selling tickets. Because I'm fascinated, bro.
You
I'm
know,
fascinated by it.
I've come back to this before, where I say this is why people are going to tune into this show, because it's something totally different. Most
Yeah.
people tune into an MMA podcast or a fight show, and they'll be, well, did you see what happened, and what did this guy do, and so forth. But you're never going to see topics like what is happening here.
Man, listen, I
So,
want to break it down to a science.
no,
That's what
I
wanna
tell you,
do.
all the
I wanna break
promotion
it down to a
companies,
science.
I think you better be on the lookout. Listen up here.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna break it down to a science. Here's why. Here's why. Let me start from ground zero. Okay. The UFC, Dana White. Let's forget the UFC, because Dana White didn't have the UFC when it first started. That we all know the history. That was owned by the Gracie family, Jorge and Gracie.
Absolutely.
And want to talk about marketing? Let's talk there about marketing, because that was amazing marketing. Now, for those who don't know, let me tell you the story. Jorge and Gracie, one of the Gracie family, sons, son of Helio Gracie, treated this as a business, as he should. The Gracie name is a business. I used to train with Hilson Gracie back in, I think it was in West Palm Beach in Boca. And he was not part of that jiu-jitsu clan, that family, right? He was the cousin of the uncle, the brother, whatever. And because of the business name, he wasn't allowed, even though his last name was Gracie, he wasn't allowed to put Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in the front of his establishment.
Wow.
He had to actually name himself. He had to put his name, Hilson Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, right? So, because who has the trademarks to it? Horian and that side of the family. So, Horian being a lawyer by trade, he gave up to be a lawyer to follow Jiu-Jitsu. Now, he basically had Jiu-Jitsu and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He came to the United States. Everybody knows the story already. And he created the UFC with Art Davie and Campbell and those guys. And then when the UFC was created, of course, it was created without, rules and regulations and everything else. But his marketing plan and all he wanted to do was promote his family. All he wanted to do was promote Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to the world. That was his goal. That was his ROO, which is the return on his objective. His objective was to spread jiu-jitsu because he was tired going door to door and garage to garage and school to school. But we got more stuff coming. Let's take this quick break for the commercials, and trust me, you want to hear this story. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. We were just on the topic of marketing and advertising, and I was just saying that Jorge and Gracie, his sole objective was to promote Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, his father's style of Jiu-Jitsu, to the world. And anybody knows the history, Horian used to go from school to school and challenge everybody, challenge the masters, $10,000 in cash. He would walk into a school, challenge them, and if they would win, they'd get 10 grand. But you know what? Nobody won because nobody knew ground game back in those days. Karate was just punches and kicks. So he would continue to do that, and that's all documented. You could buy it on the website, the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu website, and all of his documentaries. Then people started going to their school and challenging them, and because they knew a little bit of kung fu, they knew this and that. And I'm guessing that's where he got the idea from, is to put all these different martial arts together and see who wins, and basing the fact that he always won and never gave up the 10 grand. But it wasn't getting anywhere. He wasn't getting anywhere. He wasn't reaching the masses. So he met a gentleman by Art Davie, and Art Davie, they both created the UFC along with Mr. Campbell. And Campbell, it was a great story because from what I understand, Campbell had a pay-per-view company. And Campbell right now is the owner of Combate Global.
Right.
He's dedicated to the Spanish market. But he created the UFC as well, designed the cage and all that good stuff. And the story goes, and I was having lunch with him when I was at a HOF House of Fame event in Jacksonville. And of course, I took the opportunity to ask him all these questions. Sure. But he had a gig. He had a pay-per-view, and he had Andrew Dice Clay the famous comedian, doing a show, and I believe he told me, if I'm quote him correctly, is that based on how he did, he was going to fund the first UFC. So he says, listen, if this guy makes $1 million, I'll put $1 million in, and we'll make the whole show happen. And sure enough, Andrew Dice Clay did well, did amazing, and he took some of that money and invested in the UFC. So him and Art and Horian created UFC 1. Now, they brought in Royce Gracie. Now, mind you, Horian is only thinking is, I want to promote. He doesn't care about boxing commissions, weight classes, or anything like that, because he knew what he had was something special that would change the world. So when he created the UFC, Bill Superfoot Wallace, my right. idol,
absolutely,
and Kathy Long, they used real martial artists to be the commentators for it. But and then Big John, he was there since number one, right? He's always been there since the first one, Big John McCarthy. And then he also took Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and he started training in Jiu-Jitsu, so now he knows a little bit about what he was seeing in the cage as time went on. But again, the purpose of the UFC for Horian Gracie was only to promote his brand. And did he do it? Absolutely. And when he finished, and the world knew about Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and then the military started training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and the whole world started training, he then sold it. Right? Mission accomplished. Now it's probably the only school that clocks $1 million in profit every year. Right? So he sold to Dana White, of course. We all know the story.
Right.
And then here's why I'm trying to tie in everything from the health of Florida, comparing it to MMA and Dana White. Right? So then Dana White buys the UFC from Horian for like $1.2 million. Right? And now Dana's like, wait a minute, you're banned in every state. I mean, this is illegal in some states. The legislation was after him. Some governors were after.
You had politicians that were banning it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Dana White said, hey, no, let's take it to the boxing commission, Nevada Boxing Commission. They took it. They wrote everything. Bam, bam. Before you knew it, there were weight classes, there were title belts, there were weigh-ins, and the whole 9 yards. He created the sport, right? Because it wasn't a sport when Horian had it. It was just, my style is better than your style. There were boxers that would come in with just one glove to beat up on Royce Gracie, which is amazing because Royce Gracie was picked because there was nobody else, really. I mean, Renzo Gracie was doing his thing. Rickson Gracie, who is the number one Gracie Jiu-Jitsu guy, in my opinion, was doing shows in Japan. So Horian took Royce because Royce was actually babysitting while he was in the United States, and he was like, hey, listen, bro, little bro, come on here, I got a job for you. And so if you look at the UFC, this is amazing. If you look at UFC 1 and you hear the crowd reaction, it's all boos. If you listen to UFC 2, it's all boos with a slight little bit of clapping.
You see them coming along a little bit.
If you listen to UFC 3, when Royce Gracie hits the ground in any fight, it's now, holy crap, he's going to win, and they start cheering.
Right.
It took them 3 shows to turn everybody's mentality on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu works, because it's a proven battleground. It works, right? So that's it. Horian said, you know what? I'm selling it. Did my purpose, made my million, right? Dana White comes in, and now it's his turn to promote the UFC.
Right.
What was his purpose to promote the UFC? It wasn't to, hey, I have a family art that I want to share it to the world.
No, absolutely not.
It was, I have a company that I just bought now, like any other company, and I got to make sure it's successful.
Right.
I got to put on shows now. I'm redoing everything with classes and weight classes and everything else. But now it's just a product. Now it's a product. Now I have to sell the product. And what his product is really entertainment. If you ask him, back in those days, he says, listen, it's not a fight game for me. It's about entertainment. So now he has to market it differently. So the story goes that every year he would fail. Every year, thank God for the Faitelson brothers, who was their high school buddies from when they were kids. They are owners of some casinos. And he would ask his buddy for $1 million, and they would be like, "Okay, Dana, here's $1 million. Go do your thing with the UFC." And And of course, he would take that and he would fail. $1 million. So I'm thinking, wait a minute. Florida MMA promoters.
Right.
I don't know anybody's getting $1 million and saying, hey, here you go. If they are, God bless them. But, I'm going to go with the fact that they're not.
They're probably not.
They're probably not. So after 10 years, I believe it was, $10 million later, Dana White's like, I'm giving up. That's it. We got to sell this because we're losing money. Now, that's Dana White back then.
Right.
No TV, no streaming, no nothing. Compare that to what's going on today. Promoters who are doing shows with no TV, no streaming, no nothing. How in the world are they making money?
Well, I think, first of all, the UFC...
Because Dana White's already proven it.
Right, well,
He's proven it you can't make money.
It's a different time. It's a different time. Dana White was back then. These promoters are now. Dana White laid the platform for them.
Yeah.
And they go out running.
Yeah, well, you know what? I wanna rebuttal that for a second.
Okay.
But you know when I'm going to do it?
After a commercial break?
Right after this main commercial, brother.
Pay.
I'm telling you right now, more bills to pay. I want to see our bills because I want to see how many bills we got to pay. Damn.
I know.
That's too many damn commercials. But tell you what, we're going to talk about this.
We'll be right
I'm
back.
telling you, you're not going to want to miss this. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Putemup Podcast, episode number 3. If you like what you see, like what you hear, please follow us on our social media. Putemuppodcast.com, Putemup Podcast on Instagram, Putemup Podcast on Facebook. You name it, just follow us. Absolutely. And check out PFC. We're going to do some pillow talk in a little bit. PFC talk. Right there. Get it? See how I did that? The pillow talk?
Okay. I got you.
That's how I do it. And don't sleep on them. Don't sleep. So how I did that?
You did that again.
Did it again, didn't I? Don't sleep on these guys. They know what they're doing. It's going to be an amazing event, January 29th, here in Miami, Florida.
I know,
it's
I'm
gonna
curious.
Be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Stay with us. So you were saying, Pat.
So what I was saying was that Dana White, being the trailblazer, the guy that put the whole formula together, had a more difficult time back then because today that's what these guys do in part, is just take part of his formula, put on a show, break even, and that's how they do 10 shows.
But that's my problem. They're not following the formula. That's my problem.
Gotcha.
They're following the formula that he had when he first started. That's the formula that they're following.
They're
following the part where I'm losing $1 million every year and I need to ask for more money. That's the formula they're using, right? Because if they use the true formula, then they would be making deals with the networks and having the networks pay the bills, right? Dana White doesn't pay a damn dollar. Come on, man. It's all ESPN. It's all about the network deals that he makes, right? If he's those days of him taking out of his pocket or asking for $1 million from the fighters are over, done. He sold the company, of course, to IZM for $4 billion, right? But he stayed on as president and everything else. So he created this sport. He created it, and rightly so. He deserves every single penny.
Absolutely.
Because he's an amazing pioneer and envisioned this whole thing, which was amazing. But Florida MMA health, the health of MMA Florida, promoters here. We only have 3 pro promoters, right? Mm-hmm. And then the rest are, amateur shows and amateur promoters. So the majority of the shows here in Florida are amateur shows, right? But again, Dana White is now learning, right? It's the promoters are learning from Dana White in the sense that they should be learning from him, in the sense of how is he making money, right?
Right.
Because I have the same product that he has. It's an MMA cage. We have MMA fights. They have an MMA cage, MMA fights. But I think the mentality. And here's what I'm getting at. The mentality of what Dana White set the foundation on to the mentality of what the promoters have in Florida are two different things. Dana's thinking about entertainment while the local Florida promoters are thinking about fights. And I don't think Dana White's ever, since he went on TV, he had to do entertainment. It had to be controversial. It had to be, even with time limits, that before you go on commercial break, God knows we have those, right? We've had like 10 commercial breaks already, but it had to be suited for TV, right?
Right.
So what I'm saying is that the promoters nowadays here in Florida, I mean, don't take my word for it. right?
Right.
And this is and again, this is not a bashing session. This is a learning curve for a lot. Social media is huge, right? So if you're going to do events, use your social media to your advantage, right? So I wanted to also, like I told you before, I wanted to dissect the websites, right?
Right.
And let's look at a few and see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And again, it's not pointing anybody out, but I'm going to point out the obvious, right? And if the promoters are listening, before I get the phone call, just hear what I have to say. Let me show you what I have to show you, and then listen. It is
You're
what
gonna
it
get the
is.
phone call anyway.
I'm gonna get probably the phone call anyway. But man, you can't deny the facts, right? You can't deny facts. So, who do you think is the number one promoter here that we could learn from?
Probably Titan FC.
Titan FC?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me go to their website. Let me see if we can put it on the screen. Put it on the website. Let's see if our guys can do that. All right. So you see there. Now I want to stay on the computer for a second. And I know this is going to be an audio podcast. So I'm going to talk about what we're seeing here. But if you go to Titan FC's website, and I'm sure they're going to be like, hey, we understand we've got a lot of work to do. Okay, that's great. So in marketing, there's a thing called above the fold, right? To where the fold line is this right here. Anything to where I have to use my cursor to move up is valuable space. So this right here, Titan FC said, it's more important for you guys to watch my logo and a little video in the back than it is, as I scroll up, for you to buy tickets for our event. I'll say that one more time. It's more important to see my logo and that little video playing in the background,
Right.
than scrolling down and paying for a ticket to my event. So this is what irks me, right? Because maybe I'm thinking too much into it, right? I'm analyzing too much.
They call it branding.
Okay, so you're more important to say, hey, I'm Titan FC, which everybody knows who you are.
Right.
You're a major company, than to sell tickets, right? So here's what I would do. If I was the management company, the social media, the advertising company for Titan FC, I would tell Titan FC, listen, the way you have it right now doesn't make you any money. Because if I have to touch the mouse and scroll down to spend money on you guys, you know what? The attention span is probably 3 seconds. And they probably won't. So I would switch the upcoming events tab here, the buy tickets, and I would simply move it up to here to where I don't have to scroll down to buy a ticket, right?
In other words, you want that to be the first thing that they see.
That should be the first thing you pop up to generate ticket sales. And ticket sales is getting people in the seats in which you would make money on. Now, here's the argument. Well, Frank, you're talking about buying tickets and putting people in seats. What if our business plan, our business structure wasn't so much about putting people in seats, but it's more about buying UFC Fight Pass and paying for streaming? Maybe my platform is more marketed to that than it is to put people in the seats. Then I would say, okay, well then that's your ROO. Your return on your objective is to buy streaming buys. Well then there's the right next to ticket buys is the UFC. So you have both options. Just put it up in the front. Just put it up on the top. That's all you got to do. Now, I'm not going to beat a horse with with a stick type of deal thing.
Yeah.
I think my point has been made, right? But here's the most fascinating thing about promoters. Promoters in Florida, please listen up. This is probably the most valuable stuff. Go back to the computer real quick. Go back to the computer. And please, guys, engineering, don't move from this computer until I say so. All right? Just because this is how passionate.
You get that, guys?
This is how passionate I am about this, right? Here's how passionate I am. So we now know that, hey, what if I told a company, to make my website and make sure that it's a marketing company, to make sure the marketing company does right. So let's scroll down to Titan FC's website. All right, we see here created by LFL Marketing. Okay, so these guys are hired to do the marketing for Titan FC. As far as, maybe not so much the marketing, but maybe the website.
Right.
Right. So I know that because they'll have their clientele. Right. Let's see, our services, our clients. I'm sure Titan FC is going to be on here because they're the ones who did the website. Clearly, our clients. Dun, 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 dun. All right, my bad. Okay, so they're not on there. All right, well there goes that. So I guess LVL need to update their website.
That's another phone call you'll get tomorrow.
I'll get another phone call. Hey, would you stop making shit? But listen, here's my point. My point is that you have a marketing company that's supposedly marketing, and they don't want to sell you tickets. Now it could be the direction of Titan FC. Listen, we don't care about selling tickets. We don't care about selling tickets. That's our platform. We'd rather stream. Well, if you want to stream, make sure you put the streaming thing right here. I mean, that's what you're doing. Now, what do I mean about above the fold? I've been talking about above the fold. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at any other retail establishment, right? Let's look at Kohl's. Boom, Kohl's. Right here, as soon as you pop up, they're going to have this, and they have this, and this, and this, right? So the first thing that you see is Under Armour. Let's look at Under Armour's website. Under Armour's website, boom, shop now. I don't have to move my cursor to shop, right? It's right there above the fold. These people are saying, listen, I need you to buy something. That's where this marketing comes from. I think we can learn a lot from the retail side as far as trying to buy some sales and tickets, right? So let's look at, let's see what we got here. And look, they're selling tickets. If you click on the link, Nitro Tickets, nitrotickets.com. That's a place. It's like Eventbrite and everything else where they can sell tickets at. But that should be on the top part of it. Let's look at Combat Night. Which I think you owe Combat Night an apology, Mr.
Do Patrick. I now?
Yeah, I think you do. Because every time you say Combat Night, you say Combat Nights.
Okay.
There is no S after Combat Night.
It will be Combat Night from now on.
Yeah, but maybe because they've done so many shows, it could be Combat Nights.
Okay.
Right? You can make it
Thank you. I
best.
appreciate that.
So here's another one. So above the fold, right? What are we talking about above the fold? They rather have this than to buy tickets. Where do I have to go to buy tickets? I'm going to keep scrolling up. Click here to buy the pay-per-view. Boom. So I still have to scroll a little bit to get there. I would definitely, again, change that to move it up a little bit. And then once you click on it, it goes to Eventbrite, and you could purchase their on-demand and their replays and things like that. So what I like about them, though, here's the results. Remember we were talking about the last time?
Yeah.
Boom. You can see the results of all their fights right here, which is cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me see what we got here. This is what I find amazing. On the screen right now, you have a picture of Island Fights 71. This is what I'm talking about, being creative in your marketing and your strategy and your design aspect. So they created this flyer. For those who can't see it, it's a flyer of two islands, and they're shaped as, one is shaped as a 7, the other one's shaped as a 1, and it's in the middle of the ocean, sharks going around it. The logo's amazing. It's on Saturday, January 22nd, Dean Tool Promotions. Everything is there, and it's going to be on Fight TV. Tickets being sold at Ticketmaster. Boom. That's creative stuff. Now, if I'm a designer myself, so if I look at, Titan FC's flyer, what can I say about it? You know what I mean? It's just, it's interesting.
Doesn't say anything to you?
No, I you know what? They got to step up. I'm gonna be honest. They got to step up and for a promotion of that caliber, this poster looks like it was done by maybe by the same marketing company.
Yeah, LVL.
Yeah,
we're gonna get those phone calls.
Who knows? But I think that needs to be stepped up. And then, does a flyer sell the event? Do I have to spend money on a flyer to sell the event? I don't know, but it does make it look good. It's perception, it's projection. is the projection. So, but right now, I'll tell you what, we'll go more into it, go more depth into it. We got another commercial break. Ladies and gentlemen. We will be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Putemup podcast. Again, man, support us. If you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, Putemuppodcast.com, Putemup Podcast on YouTube and Instagram, Facebook.
Give us a like, subscribe.
There you go. So real quick, just to recap, so I'm going over the health and the wealth of MMA in Florida. I've compared it to the Dana White and what he was doing, the blueprint, so that we can follow it. But I don't want us to follow when he was losing $1 million. I wanted to follow it to where it is now, right? So where you can tie in to the networks and get network deals. But I get it. Some of these promoters don't have a Conor McGregor. They don't have a Jose Aldo. They got the guy next door across the street from Hialeah that nobody knows his name. So how do you sell tickets on something that there's no name brands to it, right? So the UFC, what they do is they create these brands. These fighters are each individual brands.
Right.
But as you can see on if you watch UFC, you'll see that their Twitter handle is their name that's controlled by the UFC. Everything is controlled within the UFC, social marketing, social media. But how do you sell or prevent an event without no name brand? So I get that. That's a whole new different topic, a whole new strategy on as you're doing your events, how do you make these happen? Now, so I'm not bashing anybody. These are just facts, right? So the promoters who are listening or watching in, this place is Titan FC. I know Lex and Jeff, great guys, amazing guys. They support me 100% in almost everything I do with the award show and the stats and everything else. So please go see a Titan FC show. This has nothing to do with the show itself. It's just the business side of it from what I see. Now, let me tell you a little quick story.
Okay.
About Lex McMahon and myself.
Right.
So one day, Lex was doing an event, and they had it scheduled for the Bank United Center. And he came to me, talked to me. We were talking, and he was like, "Hey, I'm looking for events. So if you know anything, hit me up, whatever." So I made a deal with the Miccosukee tribe, right? And he was like, "Well, you don't know if it's gonna work, but how can we make this thing work?" So, he got on the horn. He made some phone calls. He made it happen as well. I was able to get the sanctioning body, and through Lex's passion to get this done, because he truly believes this is not a statement. He truly believes that fans come first, and he wants to give the fans a hell of a show. So, long story short, it happened, right? So the show came off. It was huge. It was successful. It was sold out. It was amazing crowd. The fights were amazing, like every Titan FC show you expected, right? To see it live is one amazing thing. If you haven't gone to see a show live, especially a Titan FC one, you're gonna hear some things that you just go, "Oh, ow, ouch, that hurts." I mean, the bone to bone contact, you can hear it from a mile away. So while we're sitting there and the show is finishing, we're sitting at a table, and Lex probably remembers this moment, but and I brought him over some people, right? I brought him a camera guy. I brought him a production guy. And I made that introduction, right? And I was like, "Hey, this is so-and-so. He's here local. He's got a production company, blah, 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 just in case, whatever." And Lex, God bless him, man. He's so tactful. He's so good. He's so political. He was like, "Oh, yeah, and nice to meet you, man. They took pictures. Can I take a picture? Yeah, we'll take a picture." Everybody's taking pictures with Lex and everything. And then everybody leaves, and it's just me and him. And he sits me down on the table. And he says, "Hey, Frank." I said, "Yeah. Don't ever do that again." I'm like, what did I do? Like, what did I do? He said, "Listen, I got my people, and I'm loyal to my people. And whatever it takes with my people, I will make sure it gets done." And I was like, holy shit, I jumped back for a second, and I said, wow. But again, he's a Marine. But you know what? So am I. I'm a military. I'm an Army guy.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. I'm a military man myself, so I understand the discipline. I understand the loyalty. I understand all that. But we're talking business, and you're losing money, and I'm here to help you, well, then I suggest you put your feelings aside and think about the business structure of it, right? So that was my point of view. But
Right.
I was learning from Lex, and what his message was, listen, I got this. I got this. I got my people. We're going to make it happen. And listen, as time went on, he had to make some decisions. And he made some decisions. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what I was saying.
Right.
Like, fast forward 6 months later, that all I was saying 6 months ago was just advice to say, hey, I believe in your brand too. I know the market of MMA in Florida. I've seen people come and go. I've seen promoters come and go. I was just looking at the best interests of Lex and Titan FC to say, hey, listen, just FYI, if you plan to do it this way, here
I got somebody
people,
for you.
Yeah, you know. But Lex said, hey, listen, I got this. And till this day, they're still doing shows, and nothing major happened. It's not like, anything happened. But he definitely had to make some adjustments. And that's all I was saying.
Right.
I was saying make those adjustments now so that later down the line, we're not looking at flyers that were made by some 30-year-old with crayons, right? Because that's what you're projecting as the image of Titan FC. When compare a Titan FC poster to an Island Fights poster, which we just did, and it's two different things, right? Island Fights got the concept. It's an island, and they're fighting. So they'll put islands, they'll put water, they'll put sharks, they'll put all that good stuff on there.
Do you think that's why a lot of companies concentrate on the streaming rather than the live views?
Yeah. So if they are, I don't see it in any marketing. You know what? Last thing, bro, before I go into that, and I'll answer that question because we're gonna get to that with the live stream and everything else. Because clearly nobody got TV deals. Nobody has TV deals. So if Dana
White,
and
it wasn't until you were gonna get to that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until Spike TV came along that Dana White actually started making some money.
So that's the formula.
Right.
Take your MMA event and get a TV deal. If you can't get a TV deal, even if it's local, even if it's West Palm Beach to up the coast of Cape Coral, whatever it is, you have 1,000 views, 10,000 viewers, whatever it is, find that TV deal and build your brand. Build your brand, right? So if you're okay doing shows, paycheck for paycheck, and just because you want to have the Dana White syndrome, then that's your life. That's your choice. If you want to do shows that, here's a famous saying, get ready. This is the number one saying, and every promoter is going to understand what I'm going to talk about right now. Here's the saying.
Uh-oh.
Well, as long as I break even, as long as I'm break even, I'm good. Tell me what business, any business,
none,
feels good about breaking even and not making any money.
None. Absolutely.
Under Armour? Hey, if we just break even, we're good?
Nah.
I don't think so. But listen, man, don't get me started. But you will get me started because I'm going to finish this.
Gotcha.
But guess when I'm going to finish it? After this commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have to take another commercial break. Trust me, I'll wrap it up. You want to come back to this, don't go away.
Don't forget Pillow Talk.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Putemup Podcast. We're going to close up the show. Last segment, ladies and gentlemen. But just to recap, Florida MMA could do much better promoting their events through social media, through the streaming. But in order to stream, you got to promote it. Again, the ROO, your return on your objective. If your objective was to get 50,000 likes, well, then that's your objective, and if you got them, then you got your return back, right? So people say the ROI, return on investment. Well, I can tell you right now, if you want to talk about investment into an MMA show, it's not cheap. And for you not to get ticket sales nor buys, oh, you're just breaking even, we're okay with that. How long is that going to last? How long are you going to keep that going, right? Last final thing. Let's go to my computer real quick. I'll go to my computer. All right. So, Rival Fight League, which is an amateur company here in Florida. I know we talked about pros a lot, but this is a show by Ross Kellen, who Check out his DVD on leg locks, by the way. I was seeing that on Facebook.
Yeah.
The guy's awesome. Great guy, man. Means well. He has incredible. He's an incredible guy. I think they won some awards in Florida MMA awards.
Absolutely.
So decorated, award winning. And he got this company called Rival Fight League. And if you look on here, here's my tip of the day. You ready for my tip of the day?
We're ready.
I'm going to show you some real quick stuff from Facebook. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this podcast, these are some tips and tricks, right? So he has an event, right? But we would have never known, right? Because again, you're making me scroll down. All right, December 3rd, Rival Fight League, you got something there.
Right.
But you're making me scroll down. Where should it be? Where should it be? Right here on the tabs, there's a tab that should say events. You don't clearly see events on these tabs, right? But if you clicked on more, then you'll see the events. So how many clicks does it take for me to buy a ticket? How many clicks? Well, let's see. One, two, let's see, 3. I guess I'm going. Okay. 3. Look, you can't even buy a ticket. Even the contact us page, you should be going to the website to where you buy tickets. So 3 clicks, and I still haven't bought a ticket. The event is not posted on the tabs. So here's what I would do if I was Ross. And I love the guy. He's an amazing guy.
And by the way, guys, yes, very difficult to hear about the event if you don't go to their webpage. But if you listen to our podcast show, you'll always know.
Yeah, I know you're going to touch up on this on the events coming up real quick, but I just wanted to use it as and I'll close it right here like this. So yeah, there's tips and tricks that you can use in order to make sure you get some buys, some people buying your website. Last and final one. Can I do just one more?
Absolutely.
Can we go back to the computer screen? Okay, here I go. And I know if you go to, let's say you want to get some people to go into this event, right? Here's what I do, right? What I do is I find an event that has people like this one, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships. And in order to get the people that went to this show who bought tickets for fighting, right? Now, this could be anything. It could be another MMA show. But I go to their event, and then I scroll down, and I look for where it says, went. Guess went, 52. And then I start messaging everybody that's on this list.
Are you guys taking notes, promotion companies out there?
If I'm not their friend, I will be friending them. Boom. I would hit friends right there and there, right? So that's a little trick that I do. And what I do is I take these guys and then I'll go to the UFC page and then I'll get theirs and I'll go to any other event that happened in the state of Florida. I will grab those people who went. Now, of course, you can see they were interested than more than people that went, right? Interested is different count than more than people that went. But I would grab those people because they're so influential in ticket buys and going and everything else. So, Pat, that's my end. My thing is listen, we gotta police each other on this stuff. Call the people out if you have to call them out, but work on your social media, guys. That is the difference of breaking even and actually making money. If you use your social media to target your audience, the people who are buying tickets, who are actually going to the event, you will be 3 times as much successful than what you are now. It's a common fact. If you spend the dollars in marketing, and listen, if you're going to spend the dollars on a marketing company, make sure it's a true marketing company and not your boy, your friends, and people that can do favors for you, because you get what you pay for. And if you're not paying anything for your marketing, then that's exactly what's happening, right?
Absolutely.
So focus on the flyers, focus on the promotions, focus on the Instagram, the Facebook, the Twitter. Put it all together. Police it up. Listen, if you're not following your own numbers, if you're not on a daily basis looking to see if you're green or red, up and down and everything else, well, shit, shame on you. Because, yes, you have to be the marketing guy, the promoter, the guy who sells tickets. You got to be wear a hat, like different hats every day.
Definitely.
But there's so much that these guys can do. Matter of fact, the Florida MMA Events Facebook page has a group page of over 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people. And to get people to say, I get people to tell them, hey, can you create an event page so that we can share it for you? Like, use our services for free in order to say, hey, listen, share with the MMA community, the Florida MMA community. That's what I'm talking about. You're more than welcome to reach out to me and if you need some tips, if you need to show you a little bit more of the marketing strategies, if you go to FloridaMMAEvents.com, the website, you'll see a banner of one of the social media experts that there is in MMA, who's a fighter himself. If you go on there, click on that banner, that brother will school you on everything you need to be schooled on. He will guide you and lead you to a successful marketing strategy that you will be surprised on how much sales you will make on ticket sales. It just baffles to me that I have to go 4 clicks to find an event, that Above the Fold is not selling tickets.
Right.
That there is no link on the top to say buy tickets. All that stuff, all I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, just review it and make it happen. Pat?
Well,
final thoughts.
It's definitely something to look at, and all those promotion companies out there, you should be taking note. But we'll get right into what's happening in the world of MMA, Florida MMA. We've got a guy that this weekend has been repping South Florida for many, many years as a UFC fighter. Made his debut this weekend for a company called Triller Promotions, Triad Combat. Platinum Mike Perry.
Nice.
Survives a knockdown, gets a split decision. But you could see how everybody is transitioning into different kind of promotion companies, and it's actually giving them a second life. For their fight career.
Yeah, I think he was 7-8 in the UFC, and then once he lost 3 in a row, I guess they released him. But like you said, this bare knuckle has given people like Mike Perry, who I believe fits him very well.
Right.
Like that style of fighting very fits him. But see, that's what I love about this podcast. You talk about the fighter, I talk about the business side of it.
And for those who don't get it, I look at it from the fans' perspective.
Right. And I look at it from a business perspective, because here's the business side of it.
Right.
What is the name of Triller?
Triller, Triad Combat.
Triad Combat.
Right.
Is being sued.
Yes, they are.
By who?
By BYB.
BYB.
Backyard Brawl.
Data 5,000.
Yes, the triangle ring.
And that's what's amazing to me, right? It's clearly the same ring.
Absolutely.
It's clearly the same concept. It's a triangle ring.
Yep.
Data 5,000, who is a local Floridian and Perrine, who did these shows in his backyard when nobody, bare knuckle fighting, where Tom Malloy back in the days would say, if you do a show one more time, I'm going to arrest you.
I'm going to arrest you.
And it's a felony.
Absolutely.
And you will go to jail.
Yes.
To find out now that the Florida Boxing Commission, boom, allows bare knuckle fighting now is amazing. But it took, and that's again, the mentality, ladies and gentlemen. You have the mentality of Data 5,000, who thought as a fighter. He's a promoter. Yes. He's been on Bellator. He fought Kimbo Slice. If you guys don't know who he is, he's the guy who fought Kimbo Slice on Bellator. They used to train together and spar together, and then all of a sudden that happened. I think Kimbo won that fight. Yes. He left with trying to get a heart attack and all that good stuff, and they're not trying. I guess something happened to him. But the mentality, right? The mentality of the business of Dada was, I'm gonna put on these shows, I'm gonna put on these fights, I'm gonna make my money selling tickets, blah blah blah. He was a hustler. That's what he did for the community, right? He did his thing. While the other side of it is, I want to make this a true business. I'm going to put it on Triller. I'm going to put it on, I'm going to stream it. I'm going to do all this stuff to it, right? So if you look back at the history, clearly Dada had done this in 2015, or after I remember, back in the days, for it to take place, Triad, to do it in that ring. And I know that Dada send out a newsletter, a letter of desistance.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He basically said, listen, stop it, right? They went along with it anyway. Right. They did the show anyway, even though he had that letter, they don't care. So he may have an argument there, but that's interesting to me.
That's going to be another topic that we've got going on.
A cease and desist letter for me would be that's enough. That's cease and desist. Don't do it again.
Don't do it again.
Yeah, and for them to do it, that's crazy.
Well, Well, yes, they did go ahead and do it, and Mike Perry had a good night. Combate Global had another show this weekend. You got Marcos Lloreda won in the prelims. Again, that doesn't say much. Right. I mean, I'm happy for Marcos, but nobody saw it. We've got some promotion companies out there that are doing shows. You mentioned Rival Fight League. Yeah. That's going to be 12-3 in Lakeland.
Shout out to Ross.
Beat Down at the Beach, 12-4 in Panama City. Nature Coast Fight League.
Yeah.
They just had something in Ocala, if I'm not mistaken. So we've got all these different fight companies.
Well, go check them out, man. We can check them out on Facebook.
Absolutely. Okay. That's where you can get it. Again, if you can get all the information here, you can go on FloridaMMAEvents.com. You can pick up all the information that's going on in the state of Florida. Yeah. We'll end it up. We've got Bellator fighters coming in. Something really interesting with Scott Coker. He wants something to happen with Kayla and Amanda Nunez and Cyborg. So we're gonna keep on following that.
I just saw that. I just saw that Cyborg did an interview with BJ Penn, and she was like how Bellator saved her MMA career after leaving the UFC. You know, and
well, it was a tough loss for her. You know, after she met with Amanda.
Yeah.
But we see a lot of pictures of Kayla and Amanda training together, so it looks like that's not going to happen.
Okay.
But maybe Cyborg and Kayla is something that'll come up. But we'll keep you guys posted. Awesome. And again, if you want any information that's going on, anything that's happening in the world of MMA in Florida, FloridaMMAEvents.com. They'll always keep you up to date.
Awesome. Listen, guys, another episode, wrapping this up. I just want to leave with this Pillow Fighting Championships, man. I got to mention it. Pillow Fighting Championships, ladies and gentlemen, go to their website, fightpfc.com. If you don't know anything what's going on, they do a show January 29th here in Florida. $5,000 to the winner of the pillow fighting tournament.
Now it gets serious.
That gets serious.
Listen, it gets serious.
These guys are no joke. Don't sleep on them. It's basically they're on. You know, you can hear articles now on CNN. They're being reported on the local channels and news and things like that.
And guys, it's also $250 to show, so it's not only $5,000 to win, but
yeah, you know, there's definitely a pay for that day. And you know, check them out, Fight PFC. If you want to participate, that's a great thing about it. You don't have to be an MMA fighter. You don't have to be a martial artist. You could just be a guy who has a heart, who wants to throw down and just stand toe to toe with someone. That's all the requirements there is, really. Yeah. You know, sign up, fightpfc.com. It's on the website. You can sign up for it. And we're looking for men and females.
Week, I'm going to be hitting Frank with that pillow.
Oh yeah, next week is gonna be crazy. I want to do every podcast that we do. I want to talk about pillow fighting because this is huge, man. This is something
I'm excited to kind of see it. I'm curious.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be amazing, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. Follow us, subscribe on our YouTube, on Instagram, our Facebook, all the social medias. For Mr. Patrick Regalado and myself, take care. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. See you all at the fights.